What is happening over there in Huntsville? Like, this is actually completely out of hand. It's like when you feel like you're done with the criminals of Huntsville, something else comes up, and then it's just absolutely bizarre how these people go around with no concern, no care in the world. Now, here's the thing, I'm not even judging, right? But if you know you have some skeletons in your closet, then why are you on a reality TV show? Like, most people always feel like their dirt is not going to come out, but it's like everyone else's dirt came out. So why do you think yours would be any different? That is what is so baffling to me, because it's like we've seen this happen to so many people so many times over the course of how many years. And it's just like, why are you on reality TV show? If you know that you have some skeletons, if you know that there's something coming up in the pipelines you don't want nobody to see, girl, I would have been said, thank you so much for the opportunity, but I'm going to keep it moving. That could have been the end of it. But it takes a level of bravery that I just don't get, for someone to be like, I don't care that I am doing some shady-ish in the background that may get exposed. I'm still going to come on a reality TV show and then hope that my ish does not get exposed. That is the great level of delusion. I don't even know what it is. Now, hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Here we talk about celebrity news and reality TV shows. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also, please give this video a like, comment, share, and make sure you watch until the end. All of these things help to support a YouTuber like myself. Now let's get into it. Fletcher, the only one. Now, everything I say in this video is alleged for entertainment purposes and in my own opinion only. So, shout out to Diana Rose, shout out to Empress Radio. So those are the first places that I got this information from. So I'm going to say allegedly, but allegedly it's been exposed that Chris has 6 real estate violations. Okay? Not 1, not 2, 6. With a $2,500 fine for 5 violations and 1 violation for $500. Plus, the biggest thing is he is getting is the real estate license has been revoked. So according to these streets, there was a hearing date on March the 20th, where he was allegedly found guilty for engaging in misrepresentation or dishonest or fraudulent acts when selling, buying, trading, or renting a rental property of his own or of a spouse or child or parent. So this sounds like something to do with dishonesty of some sort. And of course, his license was revoked. The thing about any job where you have a license, like license to practice law, real estate license, license for insurance, you have to be above board, because any misrepresentation, fraudulent or negligent could impact in your ability to practice in those areas, or at the very least you could get fined and experience a loss of reputation. Now, the problem with these things is these things are public. So if you have a license for something, chances are if you lose that license, it is very, very public. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so careful about just in life in general, because I'm just like, I do not want to lose my license. I need to be very careful with so many different things. And it is so sad, because it's like you work so hard for get these licenses, right? And to then end up with so many violations. It's not even just one violation. You know how sometimes people make mistakes, right? Like there's certain things that you see and you're like, okay, this is but it's multiple violations. Yeah, but you. At what point does it feel like a blatant disregard for the value of this license? And also, apparently, the second violation, he was found guilty allegedly on the same hearing date, and it reads failure to disburse earnest money to the designated consumer after a written agreement was signed by both parties of the sales transaction. So for me, this sounds kind of like you were meant to send money to a particular consumer based on an agreement and you did not do anything about it. So what happened to that money? This is just me, I'm curious. And then the third violation is engaged in conduct which constitutes or demonstrates dishonest dealings, bad faith, and untrustworthiness. That is a very, very serious violation. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to get his license back because these are such serious violations, and it's not even just one, it's 6. So it's a little bit, it's very, very difficult to see the coming back from that. And I'm always one to be like, oh, I hope people move on and things change and, they're able to atone for whatever mistakes, because nobody's above mistakes, right? But I think the fact that a lot of it is very much dishonesty, misrepresentation. In misrepresentation, okay, let me be clear. I will say this again. Misrepresentation or dishonesty or fraudulent acts. So it's a mixture of things, right? It could either be misrepresentation or dishonesty or fraudulent acts. And then the second one is where I feel like is it the third? The third violation is the one where I think, that's a little bit more clear in the sense that it says engaged in conduct which constitutes or demonstrates dishonest dealings, bad faith, and untrustworthiness. That in itself is very clear that there is some sort of bad faith, something that shows that he wasn't trustworthy, right? That is something that is very, very important, especially when it comes to like just different licenses, right? And then the fourth violation is failed within a reasonable time to provide information requested by the commissioner, investigator, or auditor. Okay, so this is more, I won't say lax, but I'll say like this is more like a lack of disclosure as opposed to dishonesty, right? So I would say that's probably one that he can easily get back from, in the sense that if that was the only sort of violation, I would have said, okay, if he comes up with a reasonable excuse or something, next time passes, he may be able to get his license back. But then all of them as a combination, he must really be able to show complete changed behavior. Anyways, the fifth violation says change the address of his place of business and fail to notify the commission in writing within 30 days. So I think that is more of this is just my opinion. I think that's more of like something he should have done that he didn't necessarily do. That doesn't necessarily show any sort of dishonesty or misrepresentation. It's almost like you have a requirement and you didn't comply with it, right? It's not right, but I feel like that kind of violation, you can still kind of, be able to make an excuse, get your license back. And then the sixth violation was failed to have a place of business that meets the requirements for a place of business. Same thing. I feel like this is also something that could have easily been able to, you can easily be able to turn around if you then eventually get a place of business that meets the requirements, apology, change behavior, and then reapply for your license after some time has passed. Now, like I said, these are just like my personal opinion about each violation. I do feel like, yes, there's always a process to be able to try to get your license back. Whether or not you do get it back is now to be determined, right, by the commission, and how long that would take, how many years in between. He may not even have his license for the next couple of years until he's able to get his license back, if at all he's even able to get his license back. And if you think about it, if you're trying to get your license back, then you need to show that you have changed. So no more acky-panky behavior, no more dishonest conduct, nothing. You must have also paid like your fines. For instance, all of these fines, you must have paid them, because then that shows that you have paid them, you have provided restitution. He will, of course, have to disclose all of these things, and he would have to give all of the information, right? If he's going to apply for another thing. It's almost like you're basically applying for a concession for them to give you another opportunity, right? So you have to prove that things are different now. You've learned your lesson. You never do that again. And things like passing, you need to pass the exams again. it's like starting from scratch. But the problem is it's not even starting from scratch because you have six violations against you. So it's like starting from those violations to then try to then prove that things have changed, you're no longer that person. And then of course there may need to also be like a formal hearing to determine if they feel comfortable that things have changed. He's no longer that person. I do wonder if they have a system where there's sort of like a probationary period of some sort where he does have, maybe he's given a license back, but license with heavy restrictions for a number of years, and then to see how that is then managed. I personally just think that it would be very difficult for him to prove, especially at his age, right? Like, this is something that has now been flagged, right? And dishonesty is a big thing. If it was like, oh, failure to file something, oh, your venue wasn't up the standard, which is some of these violations that he allegedly has. If it's just those, then I would say, okay, he will be able to get his license back. But things like that have such a huge gravity, right, on the reputation of real estate agents, or things that affect the public being able to trust real estate agents, are things like misrepresentation, dishonesty, fraudulent behavior, right? So all of these things are very, very concerning. They're very, very serious allegations. So he will, in my opinion, genuinely struggle to get his license back if eventually he even gets it. This is not a curse. It's just a sad reality, in my opinion. I do find it very odd that he knew all of this was going on. Did he know all of this was going on before filming? Why decide to film? Why not leave the show? If he had left the show last season, all of this would not have come out. And it's just like, why does it feel like everybody or most of the people on the show have something to hide or have very loose morals? It's so sad because you want there to be people that have honest businesses representing on a show about love and marriage. And I know like it's called Love and Marriage, right? But at the same time, part of what it was sold as is like the whole successful unit and people being successful. And so it's very, very sad that these so-called people that a lot of people have seen as being successful, because for the most part, everyone kind of thought like, okay, at least the Fletchers are doing really well in business and financially and whatnot. So it was definitely very shocking. Like when I first saw this come across my YouTube algorithm, I was like, what is going on? Is this true? Like, how? Why did this happen? I feel like Mel and Stormy definitely had the right idea leaving the show, because it's just like, you don't want to be labeled with stuff like this, especially Mel. You don't want to be labeled with things like this where it feels like all of your co-workers have some sort of runnings with the law. You also don't want a situation where you are now starting to be the focus of people watching to see whether or not like you make a mistake. And yeah, I feel like, don't get me wrong, I understand that sometimes it could be hard to do the right thing, but like doing the right thing really does help, because then at least you don't have to be worried about waking up in the middle of the night. You don't have to worry about being exposed. It may take longer to achieve certain things that you want to achieve, but then you have peace of mind, right? Now I do hope that the Fletchers, now this is a thing, no matter what someone has done, I don't wish them evil, right? So I do hope that the Fletchers are able to get it together. I hope that they're still able to run their other businesses and they don't end up losing everything. Because I can imagine that if real estate is their biggest business, then they are going to struggle in other areas. So I wish them the best. I hope they can get it together. But this is a lesson to anyone. If you have skeletons in your closet, please don't go on reality TV show. It's not going to benefit you. You're going to end up being exposed. It's sad, but I feel like this has been the experience, especially with the Love and Marriage Huntsville crew. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.